Good morning and welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. You know, we spend close to $30 billion a year on state government here in Massachusetts. And one of the crucial overseers of that money is the Office of the State Auditor. Joe DiNucci of Newton has held that office for the past 23 years, but he's retiring in January, and recent polls suggest the race to replace him is a close one between the two major party candidates who are here today for a mini debate. They are Suzanne Bump of Great Barrington, a former state labor secretary and state representative, and Mary Connaughton of Framingham, a former member of the Mass Turnpike Authority Board of Directors. Welcome to you both. How about a little handshake to get us going?
Great to be here.
There we go.
Nice to see you, Mary.
God bless America. Love that. Okay. We'll start with a question, each take about 45 seconds or so, and then we'll have an open debate here. We'll start in alphabetical order with you, Ms. Bump. Did Joe DiNucci do his job properly, and how will you do it differently?
Oh, I think that Joe has done an appropriate job being independent and apolitical, doing professional audits. But what's important in this race is that there are fundamental differences between Mary Connaughton and myself. Mary has made clear that she wants to continue her professional career as a field auditor and an accounting instructor. She has pledged that she will not be found in the office of the state auditor. She will be in the field instructing her auditors to do a better job. The difference then is vision and leadership qualities. I want to use the background that I have in the public sector and in the private sector, the leadership that I have shown and the ability that I've demonstrated to make fundamental change in state government. For me, audits are nothing more than tools. I want to use them to advance an agenda on behalf of the taxpayers on Beacon Hill.
Ms. Connaughton, equal time.
I think Joe DiNucci has done a reasonable job, but I think it's a new era. It's a new time for transparency in government. We have new technology, better audit tools to conduct more efficient, more effective audits. I think now is the age where people demand more accountability, more transparency. They're very concerned with state spending. They're concerned with their jobs. And the auditor should be the people's voice on Beacon Hill. The auditor is the top public advocacy position. It's the top check and balance position in the state, looking out for not the special interests, but the people's interest. And that's what I will do. I was an audit senior manager at a major worldwide accounting firm. I was chief financial officer of a multi-billion-dollar financial organization at the state lottery. I am also was a fiscal watchdog known as a voice of the people on the Turnpike Board. And I think those qualifications will allow me to take this office and make it like it never has been before.
All right, rebuttal.
Well, I'm glad that Mary's finally admitting that she has a political past, because we both do. I mean, we've both been in and around state government and state politics for years. The critical difference, I think, is what we've done with our time in state government. And I have used it as a state legislator and as a cabinet secretary to bring about fundamental change in state government, to reorganize agencies so that they are more effective, more efficient in their use of taxpayer dollars. I've challenged the political status quo, and I've gotten better results through my work in state government.
Response?
See, I have experience both in the private sector and in the public sector, and I think that's important. Most of my experience has been in the private sector, actually performing audits. But even as a public sector employee, I made big differences. On the Turnpike Board, again, I was known as the voice of reason. In the stark contrast, I mean, people have a choice this year for state auditor. We can elect someone that's an experienced CPA, certified public accountant that knows how to audit, someone that already has a proven track record of standing up for the people when under difficult circumstances on that Turnpike Board. Or we can elect a person that's been in the legislature for almost a decade, was a professional lobbyist cozying up with Beacon Hill, and also, you know, was recently a cabinet secretary. You know, do we want to elect a professional auditor, or do we want to elect someone that someone might call Miss Beacon Hill?
That calls for response.
Mary, I'm astonished to hear Mary trying to deny her political past. She served in the Joe Malone administration in the Office of the Treasury and at the lottery. And for how many years was that? That was at least 4 years. She tried unsuccessfully to become a state representative. I did spend 8 years as a state representative from the town of Braintree. She served on 3 different gubernatorial appointed boards under Mitt Romney. She collected a salary for one of those for at least part of the time that she was there. At the same time, she was collecting a salary as an instructor at Framingham State College. All of this came about under the patronage of Mitt Romney, and yet she is trying to she's suggesting that I don't have. She's suggesting that I don't have. Mary, all of your Mitt Romney, all of your experience as an accounting instructor.
Okay, let her respond.
Well, I haven't finished though. All of your accounting, all of your experience under Mitt came after Joe Malone. It all came under Mitt Romney appointees, from your experience at the as an instructor at Framingham State College to the boards to which you were appointed.
All right, let her respond.
And I did spend 14 years in the private sector as an attorney, not just cozying up to Beacon Hill interests. I started a law firm, I started a nonprofit, and I currently chair the board of a nonprofit in Brockton that provides alcohol and drug abuse services to women.
Okay, equal time for her.
Experience in the private sector.
And your experience on Beacon Hill was far different than my experience on Beacon Hill. The vast majority of my experience on Beacon Hill was serving as a volunteer position. I also was on the Framingham Finance Committee. I do believe in public service. I do believe that people need to give back to the communities in which they live and stand up for the people. Yes, I was on the Commission on Judicial Conduct here for 6 years. It was a great experience. I'm very proud of that track record, but it was volunteer. I did a lot not to get for financial gain, but just to serve the people. And that's why I want to take this position as state auditor. I think, I thought about it when they dissolved the Turnpike Board. I thought, how can I best continue to serve? Because yes, I do have the public service bug. I have the people in mind. And I thought, I was an experienced auditor and a fiscal watchdog. It was a no-brainer to me that serving in this position, I could do a great job for the people of Massachusetts.
All right.
That's why I'm here.
On that note, we're going to take a break, and you'll have an opportunity to return to this if you wish after we do this. So stand by and stay with us for more of our state auditors debate here on WBZ. Welcome back to our mini debate between the 2 major party candidates for state auditor, Suzanne Bump and Mary Connaughton. Mary, you'll start here.
Thanks.
Are you a partisan? And what evidence can you cite to prove you won't play partisan politics on this job?
Thanks for the question. It's a really good question. I get asked that quite often on the campaign trail about independence for all candidates for this particular job. And out of any seat in state government, this is the seat that needs to be nonpartisan. It needs to be independent. And I have a proven track record of being nonpartisan, of standing up for only the people. It shouldn't be about special interests. It should be about the public's interest. And on the Turnpike Board, I served with Republican chairs. I served with Democrat chairs. I was very known as an independent voice on that board. But even more importantly, I'm a certified public accountant, a CPA. I'm held to a higher standard. In the capacity of state auditor, I will be practicing that profession. I have to be independent, objective, act in the public's best interest. I can't be political. I have to be professional. My license is on the line.
Ms. Bump, equal time.
I have shown my independence over the years that I have been in government because I have challenged the special interests on Beacon Hill. If you recall, it was in 1992 that my name was last on the ballot, and I lost my re-election to state representative position because I challenged particularly lawyers and members of organized labor in accomplishing workers' compensation reform. I took a system that was virtually on the verge of collapse, costing employers through the roof. Costs had increased threefold in the decade preceding my reforms. We now have, in the opinion of one of the experts who just this past month opined on workers' compensation systems around the state, the best system around the country, the best system in the country. I was the author of those reforms, and I suffered a political consequence. So and I'm willing to do those kinds of things, to take those kinds of political risks. And if I was willing to put my own career on the line, excuse me, Mary, if I'm willing to put my own career on the line, do you think that I'm going to care about protecting anybody else on Beacon Hill?
Okay.
I have changed systems as a legislator. I have changed systems as a state cabinet secretary. And I'm not the one that's invited Sarah Palin to come campaign on my behalf.
I never
shown up at
Okay, let her respond.
So let's talk about who's being partisan.
This role is about being independent. So for the power of the state auditor really rests in the power of the people, and the people have to believe that the person in that seat is independent. And you've already accepted thousands of dollars of campaign contributions from special interest groups. I haven't done that. I've refused that because in my mind, if you were a CPA, if you abided by the Code of Professional Conduct, you know that accepting that money basically impairs your ability to be independent. If you have already sold the public out in doing that. You have to be independent in mind, and once you accept money doing that,
let's get a response.
It's wrong.
Well, I think that's a strong and pretty unfounded accusation that you're making. It's completely baseless, and it is in stark contrast to the way that I've conducted myself in public life. You look at the work that I have done. You talk about managing in the private sector. I've managed in the public sector. I managed state agencies that had been managed under a Republican.
Suzanne, listen, Suzanne.
One at a time.
I managed state agencies that were in complete dysfunction when I took over. Because do you know what the prevailing philosophy was? As told to me by my predecessor, that these agencies constituted a complete morass, and I should do a few things around the edges and declare victory. I needed to get in with performance standards, with reorganization plans, with more efficient and effective ways of doing state government.
This job is about
auditing. And that's exactly what I did.
Okay,
and I have a vision, and I have leadership qualities that, frankly, you lack.
Okay, response.
Suzanne, that's absolutely wrong. Your experience in management has only been recent. If you look at your career, you have very limited management experience. I, on the other hand, can hit the ground running. I don't need on-the-job training to be the state auditor at the taxpayer's expense. I've done it. I've reformed agencies. I've made major differences at the lottery in one fell swoop by taking a manual system and automating instant tickets. I brought in $20 million more to the cities and towns by looking at systems and improving those systems. And that's what we need in state government. People want an auditor that's going to improve and let them know what's going on. You've been a part of the system. You had opportunity to reform Beacon Hill. When you were a state legislator, you could have opted offered to have the state legislature audited, yet you did not do that. The state legislature is the one area of government that is not subject to audit. That's absolutely wrong.
Let's get a rebuttal.
I would make the change on that, and I would file legislation to do that.
Well, I have said that I would do the same thing, and I don't know whether in 2004, when you ran for a state representative, whether the state auditors auditing by an independent entity was whether the question of whether the state auditor should audit the legislature was part of your campaign platform. I was in office 18 years ago. You are accusing me of a political epiphany on this issue, as you did the other day.
Suzanne, this is about basic transparency in government. We need transparency and accountability, and then you jump on the bandwagon of asking the state legislature to be audited now that you find yourself in the seat.
Mary, let's be honest. We had the same idea in the same year.
One at a time. One at a time. No one can hear you when you talk over each other. Go ahead.
We had the same idea.
And then you'll get the
Mary, I don't know why you just can't accept the fact that we had the same idea in the same year when we were both looking at the powers of the auditor and whether the auditor should audit the legislature. We both came to the same conclusion this year.
Suzanne,
that's not anything that you or I, when you had an opportunity to establish it as part of your campaign platform more recently, just 6 years ago.
Right, let her in.
That's not true. It was a part of my campaign platform for a long time. I did email blasts on this. I reported in the press that it should happen. happen.
No,
this is I did
about
press releases.
When you were ran for political.
Why is it
irrelevant?
Because you sat there in the darkness of the legislature. You had access to doing it. You could have proposed a vote. In fact, there were votes going on at the legislature to have that happen. I don't know how if you voted in favor or not of it.
There were no
but
votes.
This needs to be done. I mean, we need to audit the legislature. We need to bring transparency. People are downtrodden. They've lost their faith in government. This is the seat that can bring back their faith. This is the seat that can restore honor in state government.
Final.
And we need someone that's going to be able to do this. I can hit the ground running.
Okay.
You need to be an attorney to be the Attorney General. We should elect a CPA and auditor to be our state auditor.
And you'll have the final word, and that's going to be it.
That's great. It comes right back to where we started. I do not want to be the 151st auditor in the Office of the State Auditor. I want to be a leader who uses my abilities as in the public sector and the private sector to bring about fundamental change in the way state government operates.
Suzanne,
you have professed that you are going to be in the field. I want to be on the field of Beacon Hill to get change done on behalf of the taxpayers. You're the one that made the vow to be in the field.
Very briefly, and that's it.
The job of this auditor is to have top quality control, to know that the people are asking the right questions, to provide leadership in the field like a managing partner in a CPA firm would do. You don't understand the job.
And
when I sign that report, the quality control is going to be top notch. I'll know what I'm signing. I'm not going to rely on people.
All right. Thank you. Both.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
If you would like to, if you would like to learn more, I'm sure you can find these candidates' websites easily on the web. Go to our website, wbztv.com, and I'll put up links to them to help you.